when he wrote these famous lines from Macbeth. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Shakespeare understood the absurdity of life under the sun. I don't know if he was familiar with Ecclesiastes or not. I'm assuming he was. All the greats were familiar with the great pieces of literature from the past. But I know this, that he was probably understanding the same dark reality that the teacher from Ecclesiastes understood. Life under the sun is dark. It's absurd. It's unpredictable. It doesn't make sense. We see bad people getting good things and good people getting bad things. Everything seems upside down, not the way it's supposed to be. Life in this world is radically unfair. It's uncontrollable. Things happen that we don't want to happen outside of our control. And in that dark, dismal, despairing reality, the teacher here in Ecclesiastes has been combing through life under the sun, looking for lasting happiness, for something to make life worth living. He's been excavating life, looking for meaning in wisdom and in wealth, in power and accomplishments, in relationships and pleasure, in morality and immorality. He's looked behind every tree and under every rock, looking for something that will invest his life with long-standing meaning and purpose. And the question that's really been fueling his search is, how can I avoid the judgment of nothingness? The eternal sentence of emptiness. How can I ensure that my life will add up to something? Whether you realize it or not, it's those questions that fuel most of our activity, most of our pursuits. We too are asking the question, whether we're conscious of it or not, how can I avoid the judgment of nothingness? How can I avoid the eternal sentence of emptiness and meaninglessness? How can I ensure that my life will add up to something? And the teacher here comes to the end of his life and he realizes, I can't. I can't. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. That's what he comes to terms with. He realizes that the only guarantee in life under the sun is that there are no guarantees. He realizes that in life without God, because everything is unpredictable, uncontrollable, and absurd, that there is no hope for lasting meaning and purpose in life. As he evaluates life under the sun, as he looks under every rock and behind every tree to find what he's looking for, and he gets to the end of his life and he realizes it's not there. He's pushed to the abyss, to the brink of despair, and he realizes there is no light in life under the sun. So in light of this creeping fog, how can we possibly go on? I mean, once we come to that sobering realization, what's left to keep us living? I mean, what exists to inspire us to keep moving forward in the face of impending nothingness? What's left? Why get out of bed in the morning? The most honest people throughout history have been those who have recognized that in life without God, in life under the sun, there really is no transcendent hope and meaning. In fact, some of the most honest people about this throughout history have been atheists. I've mentioned a number of them to you throughout this series. Nietzsche, Freud, Sartre. Those men and so many others have come to the realization that God is dead in life without God. God is dead. The functional reality of God in human life is dead, and therefore everything is absurd. Nothing makes sense. Why go on? And they all gave their various answers. I mentioned a few weeks ago, Nietzsche believed that you just have to become a Superman. Will to power. You have to exert your will. You have to exert your power. You have to end up on top. Sartre said, the only rational thing to do in a life without God is to commit suicide. So each person gives their own answer. Well, here the teacher gives his answer. In life without God, what exists to inspire us to press on, to strain forward, to keep living? Well, in these verses, the teacher concludes that in life without God, there's only one way to endure. Embrace the darkness. That's his answer. Embrace the darkness. Refuse naivete. Don't believe the hype. Don't wear yourself out trying to avoid the hopelessness that increases as you get older. Save yourself by refusing to maintain the illusion that you can make something of yourself on your own, that you can find a reason to live. Enduring to the end depends on your willingness to give up hope. That's his answer. So, two things I want to look at briefly this morning. I want to look at and evaluate this proposal. Enduring by hopelessness. Can we do it? Does it work? And then I want to look at another way that offers so much more promise and hope. Enduring by hopelessness. This is basically what he describes here. He's bursting the bubble of anyone who naively believes that we can go through life and find hope and meaning. He begins by exhorting us here in verse 1 of chapter 12 to remember our Creator in the days of our youth. Now, at first glance, and I had to really study this, at first glance it looks like he's giving some good advice. Hey, listen, things are going to get bad as you get older. Everything's going to shut down. Everything's going to break down. Your mind's going to break down. Your body's going to break down. Your spirit's going to break down. You're going to get discouraged more easily because you're going to see the world for what it is, and you're going to become increasingly street smart and worldly wise, and you're going to see the dark reality of this world the way that it really is. And so, listen, remember your Creator. In remembering your Creator, you will not lose hope. That's what it seems like he's saying. But if you examine this more carefully, his reference to the Creator is empty. It's consistent with what he's been saying throughout the entire book. It's empty, it's impersonal, it's generic. It's even somewhat cynical. It's a reference to one who controls things, but not one who redeems things. Remember your Creator. He's not a naturalist. Even though he's examining life under the sun and the darkness and the despair of life under the sun, like many people and wise sages back in the day, he's not a naturalist, he's a supernaturalist. But he's not speaking here of a savior. That's not his point in bringing this up. He's speaking here of one who unpredictably and arbitrarily oversees all that he has made. His reference to a creator, the creator, is generic. He doesn't speak specifically about a God who redeems, a God who saves, a God who breaks in and through the darkness of our life and reality. He's simply making reference to the fact that there is one who controls all things. Remember, he's saying this. This is what he's saying. Remember while you're young that when it's all said and done, you're not the ultimate determiner of things. You're a creature. You were made. You're bound by space and time. Therefore, there is nothing you can do to ensure a meaningful life because you are not finally in charge. That's what he's saying. I was at Starbucks yesterday working on my sermon for today. And as I was packing up my things to go back home, I grabbed my coffee cup and whatever other